What's up, everybody? In this video, I'm going to be showing you how I collaborate with clients leveraging these two different automations over here. I'll be showing you the different email templates that we send to clients depending on where the lead is. I'll be showing you how we give client Smartlead access so that they can keep track of our campaigns and the leads that we bring to them, and they can obviously respond to the leads with all of this stuff. But why this is important is because inside this section over here with lead details, we also give them like the website, the LinkedIn URL, and we also give them mobile numbers so that they can contact the leads in a timely fashion in the most effective way. And obviously, if they're doing that, they're getting an ROI from our service and they're very happy. And how we do this, by the way, is by leveraging this clay table over here. This clay table can take basic information of a contact and then fully enrich them with LinkedIn profiles, websites, even mobile numbers, right? And then where we send this information is to this list view, which is shared with the client. And by the way, where we create these list views over here, this is within the client onboarding process. And so when we onboard a brand new client, we add a bunch of list views over here, and that's how it's done. And onboarding a client comes in this section over here. So we just add a client. Once this information is filled out, they go there. So that's how we get the list view. But they get to see all of this information, and obviously they can just click on this campaign URLs. It's going to take them into their specific dashboard so that they can work on the leads. And what this allows us to do is ensure that clients are getting an ROI. And it also ensures that we're able to communicate with them really quickly in the platform that they choose. And so regarding the platform that they choose, when we go back to the clients section over here, we've got a bunch of different notification platforms. We've got email, Slack, WhatsApp. And so if they choose Slack, we're going to be notifying them via Slack with an email with a message that looks something like this. If they choose email, we're going to be notifying them like this. But regardless of whether they choose Slack or email, I think I'm going to still be sending them to, anyways, besides the point. This client over here, we've got key custom fields like email recipients. And so these email recipients, when we're sending the email, that's where they're going. And the automations that we leverage, these are the automations that we leverage. And by the way, this is pretty advanced and complex. But if you want to get started and you want like a simpler version just to get started, check out afonto.com/automations. I've released a bunch of free automations, including notifications for replies with client communication. And so this is a great place to start. Let's dive in. So this is the automation. The first thing that happens over here is it gets triggered by the Smartlead webhook. And so a Smartlead webhook, you can set it up in the Smartlead settings and then choose lead category updated. That's the one that I prefer, right? And then after it's here, we're going to be checking for a bunch of different lead categories. So we're avoiding all of these ones and ensuring that we're only tracking the positive sentiment ones. And by the way, for anyone that's curious, these are all of the different lead categories I have. And so when I change a lead category from one to another, in fact, let's just do it right now to show you what it looks like. We go in the master inbox. I change the category to not, that's not going to work, to meeting requests. And then we get a lead with all of this information. And then from there, we're going to be looking up for the client. And so by looking up for the client, we're going to be matching the client ID with the one that is inside Smartlead. And obviously we have a custom field inside ClickUp. After that, we're going to be looking for the specific task. And how we do that is by looking for the email. And so back to the list view over here, these are going to be email enriched, and so we could just look for the email. And so if it exists and it exists specific to that client, we're going to have it pop up over here. And why this is important is because it's going to inform us whether we need to create a new task or whether we need to edit an existing task. And then from here, I'm going to notify my agency. And so inside notifications for my agency, this is what it looks like, right? Shari updated to interested. If it was an email reply, I'll also get an email reply, things like that, right? And by the way, these are the filters. So I'm going to be notified if it's not closed and if it's not redeemed. So redeemed, nurturing, closed in sequence, right? That's what's going to allow me to get notified. But for the rest of everything else here, is just about notifying the client and collaborating with the client simply. And so this bottom one over here, this one over here is a Gmail template, which is like response requested, which is basically just letting us know like, hey, we need to it's basically leveraging this email, right? And so we designed the emails within befree.io. It's completely free, and then we export it. And so when you export an email, you could just copy the HTML, and I'll quickly do a demo to show you what it actually looks like when we notify the client. In fact, it shouldn't be like this. I just realized, but I think it doesn't matter for now. Okay, so we'll say not equal to, and then not equal to, and then we will go ahead and disable the route, disable the route, disable the route, and then we'll do a quick run, and we will do Shari again. And so the reason I love this is because it could take complex messages and still send them through, right? And so this is Shari. We've got a previous email with an image and everything, right? And so let us go ahead and move Shari again to a meeting request. And so meeting request, it's going to trigger this automation over here and then notify the client. But as you had seen, it's just me, right? And so over here, we should see a brand new email pop up. And so this is what it would actually look like for the client. And I just realized, okay, that's weird. So I'm gonna have to like mess around with some of the code over here because that was not happening before. It's got everything, right? And so now from the client perspective, there's gonna be a button over there that informs them to simply reply, right? And so boom, that is this, right? But by the way, what I was just doing, so the filter that I was just doing here, which is equal to, not equal to, case insensitive, I was just switching it up. What this actually is once a lead has been transferred. And so meeting request, information request, all of these, they don't go to the client. All of these go to me, right? The ones that go to the client is closed and transferred. That's it. That's the only one that goes to the client. And I don't know if it's that way. Well, right here it says closed and sequenced and transferred. I haven't updated it for my own client access, but it would only be closed and transferred for the client if that's what they were looking at, right? And so that's the only one that they get notified in. The only reason we're getting these emails is because I'm doing a demo. And so in this particular section, when it goes down, this filter is like this because it means that a lead has already been I think it's running, which is annoying. Anyways, that a lead has been closed and transferred, and so what that means is that it's been updated inside here to be closed and transferred as well. And so when we are doing this section over here, we're checking for the ClickUp task, whether it's closed and transferred, and then we're checking for the Smartlead task, whether it's closed and transferred. And if those two are the exact same, so closed and transferred, it means we have already transferred the lead over, but they just responded. And so when a lead responds that has already been transferred, in order for me to re-notify the client again so that they can reply, I simply remove the lead category closed and transferred, and then I click it again, which is going to re-trigger this section. And so this email is going to go out, but that's not always going to happen. That's for that specific situation. Every other situation, it would actually be this right here. So it sends to Clay. And so when a task is created, sends to Clay. When a task is created, we send it to Clay. All of these are sending the same Clay table. And so boom. So this is the one. Shari, oh, it actually went through. So we might actually be able to see what it looks like here. So Shari is over here. So Shari, so she was obviously booked. She showed up. Company V. Did her number, this is a good one. So did her number go through? And is this even running? Okay, it is running. So Shari went through, it found the number. and this is the number that it found. So 212, and so boom. And by the way, the reason I don't have the numbers for everything is because this is a pretty new system. So phone is not there. Okay. And so, oh, it's because this is actually off. This is actually off. Okay, so you'll see what happens, right? When we bring it back. And so it goes into the clay table, and then inside the clay table, it's doing what you've just seen, right? It's getting the details from the webhook. So the website, the lead ID, the client ID, just the basic information. And then we use a waterfall enrichment to find the LinkedIn URL, I believe, right? LinkedIn, yeah. So we're looking for the LinkedIn URL, and all of these are running only if the LinkedIn URL does not exist. And by the way, to create these specific waterfall enrichments, you simply go to add enrichment, you do LinkedIn profile, and then there's going to be a bunch of options for you to use, right? And so we're looking for the LinkedIn profile to begin with, if it doesn't exist. And then the next thing we do is we do a merge, right? And so if the LinkedIn profile does not exist, we run. If it exists, it's already a column over here, and then we simply just merge them together into one single column that we're going to be sending over. And then we do the exact same thing for the website, right? For the website, oh, actually, we don't, right? So the website is over here, but we've also got the email. And so if the email exists but the website doesn't exist, we're going to be getting the website from the email. And how we do that is by just using a formula over here. And so it's just a split function. And so boom, that's how we get the website. This department stuff, this is actually for tracking later on in the future. So it's further analytics, and it's not relevant right now. But what it allows us to do is basically know which types of leads are responding back to us so that we can double down on those list building efforts. And then over here, we enrich the company to get all of the information, and then we output the country, employees. This part actually you probably don't need to do. It's because I want to know the country, the employees, I want to know the industries, all that stuff, right? And then we use a waterfall enrichment to find the mobile number and then send it over into ClickUp. And to find a mobile number, you just do that again. So mobile phone number, there's going to be a waterfall enrichment. And so when we're sending it over to ClickUp, and I regret that I just showed this, so I'll have to change the webhook. This is how you send it. So one, you don't want to have all of the quotation marks in the JSON file. It's already included in the input. And then you want to make the header have content type application JSON. If you don't do that, you're going to run into a bunch of errors and you're not going to know what happened. And so boom, that's what happens. And then it goes into this specific automation. And in this automation, we update the lead with all of the specific information that we need. And so this is all of the information over here. And then we look up for the specific client. And the reason we look up for the specific client is to figure out a few things. The first one is the notification platform. Are they no email, Slack, whatever? And then the next thing we want to do is figure out the email recipients. And so using this information, we're going to be either notifying the client via email, notifying the client via Slack, and this is the same type of thing, right? And by the way, to get the email recipients from everything, you want to use a split function, comma separated. I'm also doing assignees to keep in mind that if I do scale, I also want to notify the SDR or whoever is working on the account. And so, boom, that is how it's done. And then we use Markdown format to notify the client over here. And then we've got a data store, and this data store over here is what updates our Smartlead account with the email, the phone number, the company name, the LinkedIn URL, all that stuff, right? And when we were going back over here we're going to be able to see all of this information, which is super helpful for the client. And so last thing over here, let's go ahead and use existing data to get Shari. She's been updated. We go back over here. We go in here, and now we should have the mobile number. There you go. So the mobile number is over here, and obviously the client is going to have access to the list view so they can see all the phone numbers, everything. That's the video. Hope you enjoyed it. Cheers.